What is up, YouTube? Kasey here, and today I'm finally doing a video that is sort of a follow-up to my getting into UCLA video that I posted about 4 years ago now, which is crazy. This video is going to be my overall experience and review, and if it's worth going to a school like UCLA, the ¡1 public university for I don't know how many years in a row now. I'm wearing my UCLA hoodie right now to kind of represent the school, you know, the vibe of this video. But I'd also like to go over a quick disclaimer, and that is my own personal experience at UCLA is very unique than I would say the average student. I had a huge interruption in my experience at UCLA with COVID-19 during 2020. So just to give you a quick overview, so we don't have a just to give you a quick overview so there's not a misconception here. I am a transfer student. My first 2 years were at a community college in Northern California, and my latter 2 years for undergrad I transferred to UCLA. In those 2 years, the first year I was there, the entire academic year, all 3 quarters, was completely online. I didn't step foot on campus, and I was at home the entire time. And then my entire fourth year at my entire second year at UCLA, my fourth year completely of undergrad and my senior year in college was, I did actually get to move down to LA and live down there. I lived in off-campus housing, but it was still hybrid. So half of my classes were online. Some of them switched over to online in the middle of the quarters, and some of them it wasn't even mandatory to show up for lectures, just discussions. So I really didn't get a complete experience in the classroom setting sense that UCLA is mostly known for. It was extremely disappointing for me. And had I been able to experience a true 2 years at UCLA like most people do, I would probably have something different to say in certain categories of this video. But I would just like to give a disclaimer because yes, I went to UCLA from 2020 to 2022, and that was probably one of the worst times to, you know, be doing your continued education because it was just a huge interruption with the pandemic going on. But, you know, that's out, that's over with now, and I'd like to just do a video as unbiased as possible in an objective sense that I can for UCLA, because for my fellow transfer students and for people who are going to be going to university, I'd like to give a fair assessment on the school. The school is world-renowned. It's in the country, when it comes to public universities, UCLA is the best of the best, but it's in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is not for the faint of heart, and a lot of people know that. So, let's get right into the video. Alright, so I'm going to be dividing this video up into different categories and kind of grading the school on what I would say. Usually I do a 1 to 10 scale, but I think for the theme of this video, we're going to go with a grade, just a classic grade school, letter grades. So my first category is probably going to be the biggest category, and that's UCLA on campus. You know, housing, academics, the campus, everything, right? What is there on campus in a physical sense? You have an incredible campus. I mean, if you go and visit UCLA, like if you're waiting on decisions and stuff, or you get in but you're deciding between schools, if you go and visit UCLA, you are going to fall in love with the campus. That is without a doubt. For me, I got into Davis, which was my dream school growing up, UC Davis. So getting into UCLA for me was the only justification that I could think that I would move away from home, in a sense. So when I saw the campus, it was pretty much it was a wrap at that point. I was gonna go to UCLA. The campus alone blew me away. And I visited it at a time when nobody was on campus. They weren't even giving tours because of the pandemic. It was insane at the time. But yes, Royce Hall, Kirchhoff Hall, it is such a beautiful campus. The architecture, the library, you know, the standard hallways and classrooms aren't anything special. They're a regular college building, but walking around the campus is absolutely beautiful. And the campus is quite big. Yeah, it's pretty big. North Campus is where the humanities are, social science, and the South Campus is where STEM is. North Campus is known for being a lot more beauty-centric. They have their own gardens and such. I think the Botanical Garden is in the South Campus. I can't remember correctly, but either way, there are so many food options, dining halls, just all around the campus, and with its natural beauty, it incorporates natural beauty and architecture in such a nice way. The stairs are a pain in the ass to go up and down, but it is such a pleasure. I mean, you feel like you're getting your steps in. I had a joy walking around that campus and going from class to class. I mean, you just put some music on and you walk around. It is a joy. I will, yeah, so the campus alone is a 10 out of 10, like, obviously. There's actually a very easily accessible parking lot for visitors and students who commute. I was a commuter student because I lived off campus, and I felt that I was readily accessible to be able to get in and out of the campus without it being too much of a hassle. And the parking garage is right underneath the center of North Campus, so unless you're in STEM, if you're in the humanities, you actually are in a pretty good distance with being able to get to class in a timely manner, which I greatly appreciated. And the overall surrounding of the campus is just, yeah, I loved it. The campus alone is great. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna make on campus, the campus itself, its own category. We're gonna give it an A+. So, A+ easily. UCLA kills it with the campus. So, yeah, that's the first category. It's gonna be an A. All right, next up is curriculum, right? And that's what we go to college for, is to learn. It's the classes we take. It's the professors that we want to learn from. What do I give the curriculum? So, again, I am a history major, or I was a history major. I now have a bachelor's in it. But at the time, again, I'm, mainly catering to the humanities. I'm taking upper division courses in history. That was primarily what I was taking at UCLA's. I took a few electives in different areas, but again, all humanities based. So for me personally, I felt that the education that I got was amazing. I loved it. I had so much fun. I felt that the professors were all passionate in the field of history at UCLA, so much so that I was reinvigorated in a sense coming out of COVID. I'm like, God, I've been learning off of a computer for over a year at this point, and I could care less. But going back when I did get those hybrid lectures, but going to a lecture in person, I truly was there in my seat, taking notes for over an hour. I was in love with the entire thing. So should I shout out some professors? I think I'd make that a separate video. But there was a lot of incredible professors. Well, aside from history, I took a global studies course with Professor Zipperstein. I think it was Zipperstein. He is a professor at Santa Barbara and at UCLA, and he taught a global studies course on international law. It was fascinating. This guy's experience, where he was an attorney for the Verizon company, and he was bilingual, so he had telecommunication based law practice that involved him having to work with various executives and such in Latin America. And so he told us a fascinating comparison between different laws and such, like going on in Venezuela and the United States, Colombia, and so on. It was fascinating to learn from this guy. He would give a history lesson on certain things and then explain why the law is that way, and in his own personal experience as a result of that. I mean, a class like that is just, you don't get at community college, right? That's why you would pay so much money, so much tuition to go to a school like UCLA, and in that sense, it was incredible. I had another professor. If you're going to take lower division or upper division classes, you are most likely going to take them because Western civilization and that entire realm is a requirement for history majors, and it was Professor Phillips. That guy, I took a Roman law course. It was my seminar course for him. And just even though it was hybrid, he was so excited to go back to being in person. Even though there was about only 10 of us at most in this classroom setting, the seminar sense of us kind of not even debating, but applying like the tactics of old school Roman law and how it would fit into certain situations and collaborating on that. I mean, yeah, I'm just giving 2 examples, right? I could keep talking about different professors in different classroom sense, but that is truly UCLA's curriculum in the humanities sense. I will give it that. I can't speak to STEM, and I can't speak to what would have been in an entire sense had I had a normal experience at UCLA, but my highs were extremely high. If I ever had a whatever experience, it mainly had to do with things being hybrid and the effects of that. But all the professors were great. All my classes were great. And yeah, so I'm gonna give curriculum an A. It's hard for me not to, right? In an unbiased sense. You do learn here. And for me personally, I did thrive as a student, I feel. Okay, let's talk student life category, right? Student life is gonna be the bulk of what matters to you in a personal sense. You've got your clubs, you've got on-campus jobs, Greek life, various activities, fundraisers you might participate in. How is all of that? UCLA is incredibly, speaking from me, not knowing anybody at that school, and I was my first and only like in-person year, not knowing anyone. Did I participate in much? Absolutely not. I'm not going to attest to this. All I can really say is that there is a lot of opportunities to do things. And I would recommend you live on campus to take advantage of them, at least in your first year. If you're off campus your first year like I was, it's pretty alienating. Student life as a transfer student is not for the faint of heart, I would say, because you have to go out of your way to participate in things. But if you're on campus, they're definitely just kind of like thrown at you, and all you got to do is just take it. Transfer students, you got to look for those opportunities. So for me, as a transfer student, my student life was not particularly anything special. And but I think that's something that most colleges have a way of going with still. They've got to, you know, really piece together having a better student life opportunities for transfer students that doesn't involve them having to try so hard to get involved. Like this, if you went to community college, how many opportunities did you really have to like do stuff, you know? No, we're gonna cut that. There is a plethora of on-campus jobs. If you want to work on campus, you definitely can. In the bookstore, in any of the dining halls, working, you know, their parking situations. There's so many job opportunities. An assortment of clubs, so many. There's a huge club fair that they do at the start of the year. If you want, you'll get involved in those. And the Greek life is very lively. I'm going to touch more on this on the off-campus housing type of thing, but the Greek life, plenty of that too. So from I guess I would say an outside perspective, the student life, it probably looks about a B to an A range. But what I'm going to give it, and my experience and what I know from a transfer student, so student life as a transfer student, I'm going to give it a C+. Your things are there, your stuff is there, and you probably will have a better time if you get the full 2 years versus me only having 1 year. But you got to go out of your way to find student life opportunities. And so I don't know if I'm going to factor this into the overall score, since it is so based and around personal experience, and mine was such a unique one that I don't think anyone going forward is really going to have. But, you know, it goes without saying, I'm going to say it. The final category here is going to be off-campus. Yeah, off-campus. This includes working, like jobs, off-campus housing, Westwood as a city as a whole, because that is where UCLA is located. Yeah, what do I give the off-campus aspect of UCLA? So, first of all, I lived below Wilshire Boulevard, right? but I was about a 7 to 8 minute drive to campus, 35-minute walk. I never walked. I always drove to campus. I was very well involved in Westwood as a city. I worked at the In-N-Out store 119 over there for the entire year that I was there, right across the street from campus. I worked there on the weekends, and then so I really didn't, didn't partake in too much going on off campus. So anything going on during the weekends, I was working. But there is so many stores, so many food places to enjoy, to work at, retail shopping, restaurants. It is all there. It is all there in Westwood, and my only gripe with it is, again, but it's something that LA as a whole suffers from, and that is the homelessness issue. And I mean, it's really about it. Is safety a concern? Of course safety is a concern. Even on campus it is. Westwood, I'm just careful your car doesn't get broken into, and careful who you're walking around with, people laying on the floor. There may be some fecal matter. It goes without saying it's Los Angeles. So, but Westwood as a whole, it is, if you look at UCLA on a map, and UCLA is kind of like this odd-shaped oval, Westwood is right below it, and I felt like it had such a nice village aspect to it. It's not the nicest downtown area I've ever seen a campus be close to, but it is pretty nice. I'll give it that. And the surrounding areas around UCLA, on the left side, on the bottom left, you have all of the off-campus housing that is pretty much filled up with, well, the Greek life also goes on to the right side, but you've got a lot of Greek life, and then a lot of shared apartments and such that everyone uses. There is a good amount of off-campus housing, but the one in the lower left, this is everything within walking distance that people live within. There's some on the right, but it's mostly this neighborhood, very rich people that you go further in. The bottom left has the walking distance off-campus housing. There's not a lot of it, and I would highly recommend living on campus. And one of the biggest perks to UCLA is that if you get in as a transfer, your first year is you get guaranteed housing, something Berkeley can't offer. And then your first 3 years, if you get in your freshman year as a, right out of high school, your first 3 years you have guaranteed housing. Honestly, I would take it. It is a hassle to get off-campus housing around the LA area. That is not going to cost you an arm and a leg. It was very expensive to have off-campus housing. I had 3 roommates. Well, two housemates, 1 roommate, I should say. But yeah, off-campus housing is a hunt. It is a hunt. If you don't get this area over here, it is going to be a hunt, and you're going to need a car in most situations unless you're willing to do a lot of walking. That can be a pain. Again, that has more to do with Los Angeles being so congested and competitive, and so many people being there, but it goes without saying. UCLA off-campus as a whole, what do I give it? I'm going to give it a B. I think it's hard to really... You're in Los Angeles, you're going to have a crap ton of things that you can do. Like, if you want to leave if you're going to leave Westwood as a whole, you got Century City Mall. That's very close by. It's this gorgeous retail space. A lot of incredible restaurants. Santa Monica is very close by. You have all LA. I would go to Disneyland every week, and that was a hour drive going all the way down to Anaheim, but I did it because I could. So it's hard for me to say to give a low score on the off-campus section when you're in Los Angeles, right? But LA is not for the faint of heart. Once again, very dirty, a lot of crime issues. So you got to be wary, be safe. But it is a factor. But as a student, there's a lot of fun to be had. One thing I wish I could have touched upon is the on-campus living, but the fact that UCLA gives 3 years of it, and from what I've seen of the living situation for those on campus, the Hill, Beautiful dining hall, incredible food, and there's a lot of housing. Overall, so just to conclude the video here, on campus I gave an A+. The curriculum I give an A. Student life, from my personal experience, I give a C+, but for others it would probably be closer to a B+. And then off campus I give a B. Overall, I'm feeling about a B+, B to B+ at UCLA. So what overall do I recommend going to UCLA? This is the expense part of things. If you're a transfer student, you can probably get out debt-free. And if you can do that, absolutely. I think it is an incredible school and you can have a great time. If you're gonna get 6 figures in debt, I don't recommend anyone go to college, and that's just me. Unless you're gonna major in something that's gonna make you money. I have very strong feelings about that. If you're not doing higher education to get a return on your investment within the first 10 years, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't go to college. A bachelor's degree has lost its value tremendously in these last few decades. That's a video for another time. But if you're a transfer student and you can have a pathway to being debt-free when you graduate, absolutely, I highly recommend UCLA under those circumstances. And in other ones, really it depends on the financial situation. My car is turning on its fan, so I'm gonna hold the mic right here. But yeah, that is it, you guys. Thank you for watching. I think this video is gonna be a bit long, but it's something that I wanted to get out. So yeah, if you have any questions, I'll be responding to them in the comments. There are a lot of comments I got left on my last UCLA video I've never responded to. That's just because I feel like that video is so old now, and I've missed so many comments, it's no longer an appropriate platform to really respond to. But this video itself, I'm gonna be responding to everything. So again, thank you for watching.